And now we have our weekly energy update with Dan McTeague, President of Canadians for Affordable Energy.
Thank you for that, Julie. This, of course, is the final week of summer, final week of the driving demand season, Canada, United States. And of course, we are seeing the beginning of what could be several months of very interesting pricing ahead. Normally, this time of year, we do see temperatures move up a little bit, and with it, of course, some switchover, not just by refineries from summer blend to winter blend, but we also tend to see oil prices moving up. We also see a little bit more activity in the Atlantic basin, especially with hurricanes, and of course, we also witness what is often a bit of a back and forth on energy prices. And so while we saw places like Vancouver hit 212.9 on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, we saw it very quickly drop to $1.93.9. For those out there, perhaps not a thing to take for granted. Prices will go up about an average of 7 or 8 cents, back to the $2 a liter range for Vancouver, the Lower Mainland. For the rest of British Columbia, again, sort of a mixed bag, but generally staying pretty much where they are in the $1.67, $1.70 range, so whether it's Prince George or Kelowna, Kamloops, or anywhere around in the interior. Pretty much stability in prices, although I do sense that with oil picking up what has been about $5 a barrel in the past week, we could start to see some upward pressure, especially towards the end of next week, where British Columbia as a whole could see about a 3-cent increase. Over in Alberta, all quiet. The $1.49 to $1.46 that you're seeing at the highest in Calgary and Edmonton is likely to drop about 2 or 3 cents a liter. That's only because the retail margins have been extraordinarily good, about 15 to 18 cents a liter, and they're likely to sharpen those in the coming days, probably back towards a net decrease of about 3 cents a liter. Saskatchewan, Manitoba, nothing to write home about. They never change. They never move. Doesn't matter what the markets are. So I wouldn't expect any changes from what you're paying today. Still remaining the $1.65 range. For Ontario, it has been a very tumultuous week. We've seen prices go from $1.66 all the way to $1.71 and now back to $1.65. Don't look for that to hold. Look for a net increase of 3 cents a liter, bringing us back to $1.68, maybe even $1.69 by week's end. And of course, with Montreal, Quebec City, Quebec itself following the same energy markets, we're likely to see a similar increase into the $1.80 range by the end of next week. Atlantic Canada, again, with the problems that they're facing, fewer refineries, they are really price takers, and 2 carbon taxes added to the price. Look for gasoline prices to probably head up about 2, maybe 3 more cents a liter, pushing towards $1.87 to $1.90 for a liter of gasoline. And of course, the big one that I don't mention, the one that needs to be talked about, diesel, not just for Atlantic Canada, but right across the country. The prices for diesel this time of year traditionally rise. The fact that they are already as high as they are, with average prices across Canada in the vicinity of about $1.70, means that we could be looking at prices increasing by the end of the next week by as much as 7 or even 8 cents a liter. Diesel is a proxy for heating oil, and when we switch over from summer to winter, that tends to be an issue. But all year, inventories for diesel have been dogged by low production and very high demand, and that demand is going to only accelerate. That could eventually impact things like natural gas and propane, which for now, propane inventories are very, very good. I know many of our viewers here are very interested in, because many of them use propane one way or another. Look for propane prices this season to be a lot less than what they were last year. So the 80 cents taxes before tax that you were paying, look for that to move down maybe towards the 59.61 range. So a net savings year over year, notwithstanding the federal government raising taxes on gasoline. The other factor I think to consider here is that there is plenty of room for upside increases in the price of energy. As long as we see governments and a weaker Canadian dollar and governments adding to the taxes, and of course your GST at 5%, HST in Ontario 13%, 14.975 in Quebec, and 15% in the Maritimes, it makes a bad situation worse. I don't see any relief on the horizon, but I do see is that globally, OPEC is going to continue keeping pressure on production. And as a result, the world is finally going to realize that fundamentals economics 101, supply and demand, actually counts. Julie, that's it for this week. Have a great long weekend for everybody, and we'll talk to you when things get right back to normal. Everybody's back to work this time next week.
And that was Dan McTeague from Canadians for Affordable Energy. We'll be right back.